So
I've been very blessed my entire life, and I didn't realize what was happening, halfway into my life. But I've seen behind the scenes of every illegal and legal business or industry you can imagine. And I mean, literally everything. And that was I guess, the path that I was created to go down. Um, but it's
so tell
allowed
me
me to
about
see
that.
things from a unique lens. Like, I mean, I know that's a basic thing, but we go to church. Like, if lying's wrong, why in the world are we going to church pretending that this is Jesus's birthday? And why are we celebrating Christmas as if it's Jesus's birthday when it's not? And like that, like I think about all those things now, and it troubles me beyond belief because truth is such an important thing. But ultimately, I would say the questions that were asking for me were questioning what I was being told was being right. And then when I applied the things that I was being told that were right in my life and watching how my life went haywire and went to hell over and over and over again, I don't blame anybody because I made my own decisions, especially as an adult. But I asked enough questions eventually that I finally got to the truth. And what I'm feeling led to share that is coming through me now
Mhm.
is to say where everything changed for me, everything. I was in jail the sixth time, facing 5 years in prison. And after the cocaine and the tequila wore off, 24 hours in, I realized I was locked in isolation. And all I could hear were the maddening screams of the people around me. I'm pretty sure it was the psych ward in LA County, but I don't know it for sure because I didn't see where I went.
Mm.
The point is that I couldn't find anything to distract me at all from the noise, and I was losing my mind. And then I knew there was nowhere to run, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be here for 5 years. Started begging for something to read. They wouldn't give me anything to read, and then finally I said,
Yeah.
"Can I have a Bible?"
Mm.
Oh yeah, we'll be right back. And I just happened to remember this show called Oz on HBO growing up, and it was a prison show. And I, for some reason, remember something about them having to give a Bible in that. I don't even know if I made it up, but in my mind, that's what I remember to go, oh, Bible, give me a
Yeah.
Bible. And so when they show up and it felt like hours later, I'll be right back, means see you in 3 hours. Um, when they finally brought it back and I'm starting reading it and like I'm reading Genesis and I'm laughing hysterically, going, this is so stupid. Like this didn't happen this way. Like, and I'm making fun of it. And then I go read Revelation, and that's a bad thing to do. That was like trippy and like, ugh. Then I went to Proverbs and I started reading Proverbs, and like Proverbs resonated with me and because it was like pointing to me like all these things that I was doing wrong.
Hmm.
My God. And then I went to the Gospels and I was reading John and anyway, the point of all this, I'm not going to go down this wild Bible story, but
Yeah.
it really started to serve as this mirror of like, oh, wow, I'm doing this wrong. I've been doing this wrong. And then all of a sudden I get really pissed off and I start screaming at God. Why won't you fix me? Questions.
Yeah.
Why won't you fix me? Why won't you change me like everybody else?
Mm. Yeah.
I heard the answer. You have to forgive your father. How the fuck am I supposed to do that after what he did to me, what he did to my mom? How the fuck am I supposed to do that?
Yeah.
Because it happened to him too. There's more to the story after all that, but the questions, the
Hmm.
answer,
Hmm.
that's what changed everything. That's what started the process, realizing that not only did I have plenty to ask for forgiveness on my own, but I needed to forgive my father because you know what? For as much as I hated him for all the things he did,
Hmm.
what I was doing was way worse, way worse. So that started the process for me.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. So that's a big, I mean, so that's a big, just okay, so this concept of forgiveness, because this is something that, there's all this, oftentimes, when people are looking at the world, there's this they. Oh, they, you know, they're oppressing people. We think about the financial system or the government or, the media, there's this they that we're talking about, like somehow they are evil, right? So being that you have been on your, you've seen things,
Mm.
how, because this is a question that I feel like I live with, or it seems to me in the bigger picture, part of the problem is that it's us against them. There's this war or this battle, right, between good and evil. Um, and we see it, right? I mean, when you're talking about being molested. I was molested. There's this world of pedophilia, and there's the the darkness of the whole medical industry, the pharmaceutical companies, and all of this that is, we can't even begin to fathom, like, okay, how deep does the so-called darkness go, right? How, I don't even know what I'm asking, but I think you kind of maybe get an idea of like, so what are we being content, like what are we being asked to do when it comes to looking at the global situation? You kind of had pointed to, I think maybe I honestly can't remember if it was just in our short conversation on Messenger or something you had posted, but this idea of like, okay, what do we need to be getting ready for? And what is this process that we're going through on an individual level and a collective level? I don't know if that's just too big of a question, but maybe we can kind of start there in terms of like, okay, what are you seeing behind the scenes? What do we need to be prepared for? What is the maybe the spiritual process, this awakening that we're going through?
All right. So I'm teaching a course next week. It's free. Um, that'll give people a blueprint of what to do as far as how they can take advantage of what's about to happen. And I can talk about the massive disruption. I can talk about how in every UN meeting I've been a part of, which is two now, that
Hmm.
I've spoke the events that I've spoken at, and they talk about how 80% of the world is not ready for what's coming, but yet it's coming anyway.
Hmm.
I've been trying to prepare people for 10 years by giving away all of the resources because I studied the playbook. I mean, the playbook was available to everyone, but very few people read it. They thought it was a conspiracy theory, but the United Nations and their plans that every nation that's a part of the UN agreed to is not a conspiracy.